Welcome to the 700 Club and happy Juneteenth to all our viewers. It's a wonderful day to celebrate the end of slavery in the United States. Well, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says Iran will pay the full price. He made that promise after Iranian missiles hit a hospital in Tel Aviv, along with other residential buildings.
That latest attack comes as President Trump is deciding whether or not the United States military will join Israel in striking Iran. Chris Mitchell brings us the story from Jerusalem.
The Soroka Hospital in Beersheba took a direct hit. One of the doctors there stated, "Just yesterday, we evacuated the old surgical building that took a direct hit today. It's a great miracle." As Israeli Defense Minister Israel Katz put it, these are the most severe kinds of war crimes, and Khamenei will be held accountable for his crimes. Katz described Israel's new goal, destabilize the Ayatollah regime. Meanwhile, in Washington, President Trump has approved the Iran attack plans, but is holding off on giving the orders, according to the Wall Street Journal. Speaking to reporters in the Oval Office, Trump says he's not looking for a fight with Iran.
But if it's a choice between fighting and them having a nuclear weapon, you have to do what you have to do. We're not looking for a ceasefire. We're looking for a total, complete victory. Again, you know what the victory is. No nuclear weapon.
In an address to the nation Wednesday night, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu thanked the president for standing by Israel and told Israelis the goals of the war.
We've embarked on this operation to eliminate two existing threats to the state of Israel, the nuclear threat and the ballistic missile threat. We're moving step by step towards eliminating these threats. We control the skies over Tehran. We're striking the Ayatollah's regime with tremendous force. We're striking the nuclear weapons, the missiles, the headquarters, the symbols of the regime.
Despite the attacks, Ayatollah Khamenei remains defiant.
The Iranian nation will stand firmly against the war imposed on it, as it has done so far. It will also stand firmly against imposed peace. The Iranian nation will not surrender to anyone aiming to impose anything on it.
Yet the Israel Defense Forces are now expanding their target list.
During the strikes, we struck more than 20 targets around Tehran. These targets belong to the regime's military industries and security apparatus.
That includes the regime's centers of power. Israeli Defense Minister Israel Katz told the Iranian people it's time to rise up and overthrow Khamenei's regime. He said symbols of power are being bombed and collapsing, from the Broadcasting Authority and soon other targets, as masses of residents flee. This is how dictatorships fall. Iranian-American journalist Lisa Dattari tells CBN's Raj Nair the people of Iran have long endured a brutal dictatorship.
This is not just since October 7th. This is not just since Friday. This is something that has been building up in the Iranian people for 46 years. They're sick and tired of it. You know, to see someone who is hanged because of a Facebook post or because they are a journalist or an athlete or a dancer. This is the life and the reality that they have been living.
Earlier this week, Netanyahu told Israeli Channel 14, history is being made.
We're at a historic turning point, and everyone is slowly turning to realize it. After victory over Iran, a new Middle East will emerge.
Chris Mitchell, CBN News, Jerusalem.
We are at an historic turning point, and if the government of Iran changes, and instead of holding on to this murderous ideology that Israel is the little Satan and it has to be wiped off the map, and America is the great Satan, and we have to be wiped off the map too. They earnestly believe, the leadership of Iran earnestly believes that the United States is the greatest obstacle to Islam in the world today. We need to be very serious in how we deal with them. And instead of kicking cans down the road, now is an historic opportunity. A window has opened to actually see this change, and change not just for the Iranian people, but the entire Middle East. What would happen in Iraq if Iran is not exporting this ideology and all of their terror? What would happen in Syria? What would happen in Lebanon? What would happen in Jordan? What would happen in Gaza if the main sponsor of terror is no longer there and the Iranian people have freedom? Freedom to wear a scarf however they want to wear it. Freedom to express themselves on any platform that they want. You and I enjoy that kind of freedom. Freedom of press, speech, assembly, all of those things. Iranians don't have that, and it's that freedom that is the oxygen of humanity. Cultures, civilizations thrive under that. Let's bring that to them, and let's bring it to them swiftly. Well, in the meantime, Iran is continuing to launch multiple strikes against Israeli cities. And CBN Israel is on the scene in your name, supporting those who have endured terrible tragedy. Here's how you are helping to bring much-needed relief.
Since the onset of the conflict with Iran, Israel has faced relentless attacks, leaving communities devastated by destruction and despair. In Bat Yam, a coastal city south of Tel Aviv, an Iranian missile obliterated a residential building, displacing hundreds of residents.
The building was shaking. I was holding the door shut, and it felt like the door would fly out.
CBN Israel's Nicole Janzazayan reports from the heart of Bat Yam, where the strike's impact lingers.
It was here that an Iranian missile made a direct impact to a building right here, destroying that building, shaving off the building next to it, and destroying, making unlivable several buildings all around this area for blocks.
CBN Israel's Roberto Torres Cedillo is also on the ground, speaking with survivors about the aid coming in.
Today, a bus is leaving Bat Yam to Netanya to take the elderly, to take Holocaust survivors and those with disabilities to a safe place, to a shelter, and to house them at a hotel.
In the wake of the attack, CBN Israel has launched a trauma hotline, offering counseling and hope to those reeling from loss.
Thank you to the generosity of donors that are sharing the love of God during this time and reminding them that the God of Israel is watching over them, and that during these difficult times, blessed are those who mourn, for they will be comforted. Thank you for standing with the people of Israel, and thank you for supporting and praying for us.
And thanks to you, if you're a member of the 700 Club, you're part of that relief. If you want to give a designated gift to CBN Israel and to help the people, the civilians in Israel who are suffering under these rocket attacks, we're providing free housing for them, the ability to have plenty of food, all that they need in order to make it through. We're also working with the Israeli Trauma Coalition, providing trauma counseling. We're training first responders how to recognize traumatic response to events and how to make sure people get the help that they need to make it through. Well, it's all made possible because people like you care enough to give. So if you'd like to, you can call us, 1-800-700-7000, say, I want to give to CBN Israel. You can go to our website, cbn.com/help Israel. You can also text Help Israel to 71777, or you can write CBN Israel on a memo line of a check, send it to us at CBN Center, Virginia Beach, Virginia, 23463, or you can also do that QR code with a smartphone. Any way you want to do it now, and let's be there to support Israel and to support her most vulnerable populations, her elderly, the Holocaust survivors, those who don't have employment, and how can we make sure that they're sheltered and they have what they need to make it through this war. Do it now, 1-800-700-7000. Well, in other news, right here in the United States, the Supreme Court has ruled that states can ban gender transition treatments for minors. This is a wonderful ruling. But if you want to go to the other side and view how just incredible the ideology of transgender dysphoria, all of that has invaded the thought processes of our most educated people. Read the blistering dissents that were written by 3 Supreme Court justices. It's like they're ignoring the medical reports coming out of Great Britain. It's absolutely incredible read. John Jessup has that story and much more from our CBN News Bureau in Washington. John?
Thanks, Gordon. The High Court's ruling was a big win for those who oppose transgender treatments for young people. And as medical reporter Lori Johnson tells us, this could signal a wave of future victories for other states with similar bans.
In a 6-3 decision, conservative justices ruled in favor of Tennessee's ban on healthcare workers providing transgender procedures to minors, such as hormone injections and puberty blockers, in an effort to change a teenager's sex. Those who wanted the Tennessee law struck down argued it violated the constitutional right to equal protection by discriminating against transgendered people in denying them certain medical care. But Chief Justice John Roberts, writing for the majority, said it does not violate the equal protection guarantee of the 14th Amendment. However, in her dissent, Justice Sonia Sotomayor said the ruling authorizes untold harm to transgender children.
The Supreme Court looked at the science.
Alliance Defending Freedom helped Tennessee's defense.
They did point to the studies coming out of England and even some things here in the United States showing the harm that these drugs and surgeries do.
The ruling reinforces similar bans on youth transgender procedures in 26 other states.
This means that the 24 states that have put in these kind of bans are safe now from any kind of challenges. So when it comes to minors, this issue is settled.
The High Court's ruling signals a significant setback to the transgender movement and comes as the Trump administration seeks to ban transgendered people from female sports and the military while defining the sexes as only male and female. Lori Johnson, CBN News.
All right, thank you, Lori. Well, as Gordon mentioned at the top of the show, today is Juneteenth. The day commemorates the emancipation of enslaved African Americans, now a federal holiday for 5 years. This year also marks a major milestone for spiritual song tied to the day. CBN's Ephraim Graham takes us to the Museum of the Bible for a celebration honoring the 125th anniversary of the hymn, Lift Every Voice and Sing.
Listen closely as a familiar song echoes through these halls.
The song brings us to the Museum of the Bible today. Why? What's happening?
So 2025 is the 125th anniversary since that song was penned and then composed. And so we're here celebrating that. I mean, it's a tradition that we have to keep alive.
Here, Howard University is helping to keep the 125-year-old tradition alive. James Weldon Johnson penned the lyrics to Lift Every Voice and Sing. His brother, John Rosman Johnson, composed the music. And history records the hymn as the Black national anthem.
What do we need to know about its history?
Yeah, I think some of the significant things are, for one, James Weldon Johnson, by his own words, he didn't consider it the anthem, right? He called it a hymn for Negro people. It had a more universal approach. He was part of sort of what they considered race people at that time, right? Seeing everything they did as cultural uplift for Black Americans and for Black people. He never saw it as something separate from American culture, but something as a part of it. Right, so although we have rightfully claimed it as our own, as the Black national anthem, for its significance for what it means for us as a people, but it really calls us to unity.
So when it comes to the history of Lift Every Voice and Sing, what stands out most to you in this song story?
I think that it was composed for children, but the way that the song caught on like a fire, and the way in which it took on a larger life of its own, and how it has literally inspired and given hope to countless millions.
James Weldon Johnson was principal of a segregated school when he wrote the song, and he enlisted 500 school children to give the very first public performance to celebrate President Abraham Lincoln's birthday.
it's amazing how it's an imperative. And when I open Christian scripture and I take the Bible and I open it up and it lays flat, shows up in Psalms, right? So it almost sounds as if it's the beginning of a psalm or a conclusion of a psalm. Lift every voice and sing. You know, oh, give thanks to the Lord. It feels like scripture. It feels like text. Well, the verses aren't scripture, but they echo scripture. And we're at the Museum of the Bible, and I think it's very appropriate that this song is in the middle of what's happening right now.
Ephraim Graham, CBN News, Washington.
Thank you, Ephraim. It's beautiful to learn the rich history of that song, Lift Every Voice and Sing. Gordon?
And it's also beautiful to celebrate Juneteenth. In my neighborhood, there's going to be some fireworks. And I encourage everyone, lift your voice and sing. It's wonderful to celebrate that the curse of slavery was finally lifted off the United States of America. And the principles laid down in our Declaration of Independence, that we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all people are created equal. We finally started living up to that. We still have a ways to go. I mean, you look at Brown versus Board of Education, the whole demolishing of separate but equal, the Voting Rights Act, the Civil Rights Act, the Fair Housing Act, all of those things have been done, but there's still a last mile to go. And I would encourage Christians, let's cross that last mile. Let's make sure that in our houses of worship, we're lifting our voices and singing together, not in separated congregations, but together as one voice. That's a picture of heaven, because in heaven, there's every tribe and there's every nation. Well, why not have that here on earth in our churches so that God's will in heaven is being done right here in our own hometowns, in our neighborhoods, and especially in our churches. If we can do that, then truly we can be one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. It's a good day to celebrate.